What's going on, boys and girls? It happens to all of us. We all get sick at some point. Some maybe less than others, some maybe more, some affected more drastically, and some maybe less. But the important thing is it does happen to all of us, and it sucks when it happens. But there are things and ways and methods and mindsets that you can adopt in order to become a better person and grow stronger from being ill. Now, you can probably tell by my voice, I had laryngitis for these past few days, and it has sucked. I mean, I couldn't go to the gym, couldn't really do much outside of laying in my bed and stay in my room in fear of not trying to make my grandparents sick, but it did teach me a few things. I would say the most important thing it taught me is that the biggest fear with these minor illnesses, so to speak, so, like laryngitis, cold, flu, whatever, you don't have cancer, so it's not super scary. But the worst part is that they kill your momentum if you let it. It does suck having to stay in your room. It does suck feeling lethargic. It does suck feeling no energy and having a congested nose and having a hard time sleeping. Of course, it does suck. But if you at least bring yourself to do the bare minimum of your routine that you've set up for yourself, and by bare minimum, I really mean bare minimum. If your daily routine is when you wake up in the morning, you do a cold shower, you meditate, you whatever, instead of doing those things that you usually did when you had more energy and more ability, stick to the things that you can still do, even though they're still kind of hard because you're mentally exhausted. So I know that you probably won't be cold showering when you're sick. It's probably not a good idea anyway when you're sick. But you can still meditate, you can still do your gratitude journaling, and you can still keep up some of those good habits to keep it at a bare minimum to stop yourself from completely losing your momentum. People have a misconception about momentum. People think you start out flat, like you're rolling a ball and you start out pushing it on a flat surface. The reality is most people are stuck in terrible habits that actually put that at a steep incline. So when they have to start doing these things to increase their momentum and their good habits, it's very hard because they start on a very steep cliff. But as you progress, it starts flattening out. And I don't think it ever gets completely flat, but it does get to the point where the incline is probably so minuscule that it's not noticeable. And the fact that you've already built up all this speed before makes it so that it is nowhere near as hard as when you started. That's the problem with these illnesses. You could be having a great streak, going amazing with your training, with your work, etc., and then you get sick, and then you could do the bare minimum for these habits, but you feel so tired, you feel so lethargic, and you feel like you need to recover that you just don't, and it fucks up all of that momentum that you built. So if you do get sick, your best course of action is to determine the bare minimum that you can do and do at least that. Second is to shift your mindset, because you got to understand, getting well is not going to happen overnight. It's going to be a slow process that's going to be mentally taxing to endure when you know that you could be doing work or training or this and that. Maybe some of you watching this video won't really understand what I'm saying, because I come from a point of view where anytime I get sick or anything like that, I feel like it's a massive detriment to my productivity and what I'm doing throughout the day. Like, for instance, since I was sick, I wasn't really able to post any videos because my voice sounded terrible. I could have dubbed over some videos, but they weren't going to be good. Point being, instead of feeling trapped and limited and enclosed when you're sick, try using it as a time to develop your patience. Meditate more. Stay in your bed. Just lie in your bed thinking, or rather controlling your thoughts, which is basically meditating. Don't pick up your phone when you're sick. Don't stick yourself to a screen all day. When I was sick and I woke up that one morning when it was absolutely the worst, I just kind of laid there in bed for a while, maybe 2 hours, and I wasn't asleep. I was fully conscious. I was just thinking. I was trying to figure out a strategy, a plan, because I can never put my mind to rest really, and it's hard for me. But even still, I was practicing the art of patience. At the beginning of those 2 hours laying in bed, I actually was pretty pissed. I was mad. I was thinking, man, why did I have to get sick? I had such a good thing going on. I had so much momentum built up. I really felt like I was going great, and this has to happen. But slowly, as I sat there and kind of let my thoughts marinate, I realized this is a golden opportunity to develop what I'm lacking on, and that's patience. That's a mental control. That's the whole part that is lacking in my self-improvement journey. I'm doing great on my training. I'm doing great on all these habits, but my one weakness is self-control and controlling my mind, aka patience, aka monitoring your thoughts. If we boil it down, patience is essentially the ability to be at peace with where you are and shut out thoughts that say, I should be somewhere else, or this isn't enough and I need it more. Unreasonable thoughts, of course, not reasonable thoughts if you're actually lazy and you're not doing anything. That isn't patience, that's just sloth. For instance, my thoughts were, I could be doing more, I could be doing better. Why did this have to ruin my momentum? But they were unreasonable thoughts because it was not feasible for me to get up and go train while in that state. I would have probably died trying to, not literally, but you get what I mean. It was not a smart idea to go train. It was not a smart idea to keep up these physically strenuous habits. It was probably not a good idea to cold shower while I was sick. Probably would have made things worse. So I kept it to hot showers to help with congestion and things like that. Patience is essentially the ability to block out those unnecessary, unfeasible, unreasonable thoughts that pass through your mind that make you doubt yourself and that make you angry. Because let's be real, there are very few reasonable reasons to be angry. And finally, I learned a lesson from being sick. What was that lesson? That I need to work more on building up my immunity. So that means eating more nutrient-dense foods like fruits and vegetables, and genuinely just doing more activities that boost my immunity. Taking cold showers more often, going outside more often, things like that. I would say I already do a lot, and this was probably just a one-off thing because I really don't get sick that often, but still, it never hurts to be dialed in with this thing. So do your best. I hope you got a good amount out of this video. And if you do get sick in the future, or you are sick right now watching this, I pray that you recover very speedily. But in the case that you aren't, keep this in mind. Maybe save this video to a playlist or something you can come back on in the future. But anyway, I'm done rambling. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Peace.